Welcome back, everybody. It's, of course, Sport Federation TV, where we carry on taking a look at sport in the Western Cape. If you've just joined us, of course, we managed to catch up with Marie-Louise Vermeulen. She's from Western Cape Archery, and they've, of course, got the club championships, intermediate and novice events happening in Belleville this weekend. And, of course, then their provincial championships happening at Bowtime in Brackenfell. So get down there and watch some archery. Provincial archery doing really well. In fact, as I mentioned in that interview, they've just broken a world record with some of the athletes. Talking about breaking records and going to the next level, in studio with me now, and he's back as the president of Western Cape Kickboxing. Josh, welcome back.
JP, thank you so much to be back. It's always good to be at Cape Town Federation TV.
Just tell us a little bit since the last time we saw you. We know that, of course, just before, or at least I think the last time we spoke, it was a big VK1 event for you guys, which is a sort of a top-level kickboxing championships, and we're going to talk more about that tonight. But what's been happening in Western Cape Kickboxing? We know that there's been quite a lot of activity. The clubs are busy. People are training, getting ready for fights.
Yes, look, since the last time we spoke, there was a couple of tournaments that's happening in the Cape Town region. And of course, we had the various district sports awards, of which Overberg did very well, and then we are waiting now for the Western Cape Sports Awards also coming down.
Yeah, so that's right. I mean, let's just quickly touch on that. I mean, I was lucky enough to be at the Overberg Sports Awards. In fact, I've been so far at the Overberg Sports Awards, the Cape Town Sports Awards, the West Coast Sports Awards, even Central Karoo. Yeah. I think the only one that I'm going to miss is the one in Eden, which in fact comes up tonight. But when I was at the Overberg Sport Awards and in fact West Coast, a tremendous amount of nominations for kickboxing. I mean, every award that we saw coming out was kickboxing, Sportsman of the Year, School Sportsman of the Year. I mean, it just kept going. You've had some fantastic results.
Look, I think historically, kickboxing has always been performing well on the sports platform.
Yeah.
But also, kickboxing has always been doing well from an administrative perspective within the Western Cape, and that includes all the districts. Hence, you would see if you go to the West Coast. I mean, I can remember when I was in the West Coast. I mean, kickboxing always had like a clean sweep when it comes to sports awards.
Yeah.
And it is obviously the current management of kickboxing in the West Coast is just continuing with the process. And that has obviously overflown to other districts, such as your Overberg, such as Eden. And then you will find Eden will probably also have some sports awards nominees, and then we'll probably also have some winners there.
This is one of those things that you seem to be particularly good at, is making sure that your structures are organized, have got executive committees, have got administrators, treasurers and secretaries and so on in place. How difficult is it to do that? Or is it like you've been doing? It's just maybe a question of effort.
Look, yeah, it's effort, but also that effort also puts you on a very unpopular position, you know? Especially with people within the combat sports. Nobody wants to do administration.
Yeah, it's paperwork.
And unfortunately, that's what you must do to keep the federation operational.
Yeah.
And I think most districts, kickboxing districts within the Western Cape, they have kind of grasped that and understand, yes, this is not nice to do, but if we do it, we obviously benefit from it from a performance perspective.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it there now, performance. I mean, if you're not writing down the athletes' names, their weight divisions, their record, their performance as they go along, I suppose sport today really very much is built around statistics.
No, of course. But there is sporting codes who always want to look for the shortcuts. And they probably, some of them get it right, but the performance will never be on the highest level.
Yeah.
And I like to speak about this as unethical behavior from a sports administrative perspective. We don't run in terms of structural procedures as per South African sports plan.
Yeah.
So it is very difficult for people to understand that it has never really performed on that level as well.
But it is also a question of it also helps you as a high performance coach maybe you need to monitor your athletes' records. You need to see how much they're weighing. You need to check what their body fat is. You need to see whether or not they're sleeping. I mean, you guys look at all these, other than executive committee things, from a high-performance coaching point of view, those stats are quite important.
No, of course, no doubt about that, because that also, stats gives you also a trend.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and with that kind of trend, you can actually predict
Yeah.
outcome of performances.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what some coaches sometimes don't fully understand. But if you keep track in terms of what the guy is doing, his weight, his training, how the training regime changed, and that just predict how the fighter will, in the end of the day, or the sports person will perform at the end of the day.
And then would you modify your coaching while you're monitoring sort of statistics? Would you see, I need to change a little bit here or focus a little bit there?
Look, modification is always important. I mean, it's just one of those things. There's no way how you cannot be a learning organization even as a person. So modification is always there.
Yeah.
And even if we want to use the word transformation, so transformation is always there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So you got to tap into that. You got to understand that what you have done 10 years ago, you can't do it now anymore. There got to be some form of transformation, and your stats gives you that kind of information in terms of now I must change.
Have you got more events coming up this this year in terms of not the VK1 event now, but district championships or provincial championships?
Look, all our districts will probably have their championships in the last quarter of 2022. And that would be any time between October and January, February.
Do you have a sort of an off-season or a pre-season, or in kickboxing does it just keep going?
Kickboxing does not necessarily have an off and or pre-season. It's always with us is an in-season. You know, so I know most guys take off from mid-December till mid-January.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not because it is an off-season per se, like in other sporting code. If we have a fight on Boxing Day, then we have a fight on Boxing Day.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose most kickboxing coaches are also, they've got gyms that are income-based. You have to stay open. You've got to keep busy for your clients.
Absolutely. Kickboxing has become a corporate sporting code.
Yeah.
And that obviously demands.
But I mean, as opposed to a municipal facility, it's there, you can come and go, close down for 3 months, you come back later. Whereas with you guys in the kickboxing space, you have to pay the rent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Kickboxing has become a corporate sport. It is in some instances a very good thing.
Yeah.
And in some instances maybe not a very good thing. So it's very paradoxical.
But it's the same with some of the other codes. Students don't stop paying monthly fees. You have to still keep your students active, whether it's judo or karate or tennis. You pay monthly fees, and you have to be able to keep your members occupied.
No, absolutely. That's what I say. It's that in months such as December and January, normally clubs will have intra-club events.
Yeah.
Which is some form of end-of-year function, and they combine that quite nicely sometimes, which is good. Yeah. Which also allow the non-competitive member to kind of feel out the competition arena with inside the club. Yeah. So a lot of clubs does that, and which is good, not just for the club, but it's good for the sports as well.
Josh, coming up, it's your third VK1 event. I mean, this is. In fact, you've had quite a run. You started off with a World Championship fight with Gregory Gans up against the guy from Belgium at archery at Vibrant Sport. And then about a month later, you started off with VK1 Kickboxing, the VK1 1. I mean, this is the VK1 is quite a unique model. It's based on the original Japanese K1 style of fighting. It's very exciting.
Absolutely. I think, JP, what happens is that we had many of our top amateur kickboxers within the Western Cape.
Yeah.
And it was either creating something for them, or we were going to lose them.
Yes.
So rightly say, you know, the K1 in the 1980s were in the 1990s, in the early 2000s, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, we had great guys, and Mike Bernardo just erupted as a superstar. And subsequently that died off. So with the VK1 is we want to kind of revive that, and we want to maintain the top kickboxers within the Western Cape, so that our amateur fighters can have idols to look up to. And it's not an easy project. It's not an easy program. It's difficult, hardcore, and like you said, we're now in round number 3. There's still we're running up to 7 rounds.
VK1 is an enormously popular sport from an entertainment point of view as well. I mean, K1 kickboxing. I mean, back in those days, Japan, the Tokyo Dome would put 80, 90,000 spectators live watching fights. They have no protection other than gloves. I mean, it's quite a physical, tough. It really takes the toughest of the tough to be in that ring.
Absolutely. Look, it's not easy. That's what I'm saying. It is exciting. People like to watch it. You go into there basically only with your boxing gloves on, and there's no sun guards, no head guards, and these guys are brutal. And I mean, the last 1 or 2 rounds of the VK1, we saw brutal knockouts, which is spectacular for the crowd, and the people just loved it.
Is that what it really is? It does end up being entertainment for the fans. That's what it comes down to. Is
absolutely
putting on a really good show.
No, that's what it's all about. That's why people come and watch it. These guys are professionals. They understand that they must have a showcase to the spectators, and people just loved it.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the fighters that are on your bill this Saturday at Vibrant Sports. Bongikosi Kamagu up against Imran Philander. Now, I think with Imran, he missed out on your first round, and then sorry, you made it in the first round, and then missed out on the second round. He's back now against Bongi, under 65. What are you expecting there?
Look, I'm not going to make any predictions. So I'm saying I think the two of them are exciting fighters.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the VK1 is programmed in such a way that whoever is fighting against whoever, it's a tough call.
Well, another fight that's going to be a tough call is Suleiman Akina up against Issa Tulembeku. I think both of those guys have had wins already.
They already been in the program, so it's going to be it's going to be really. I mean, and the guy we're looking at, I mean, Yasin is definitely trying to up again, coming from a small mishap. So he's going to be. I think that's going to be a good fight.
So let's talk about some of those other fights then on the bill. Ewald Botha up against Gary Bailey. Gary Bailey missed the first VK1. He made it into the second one, and now he's got his back.
Yes, he need to get a win now.
Yeah, he needs to get a win.
And Ewald obviously want to maintain his current stance.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
he's
going to be
travelled all the
interesting.
way down from Pretoria for this, so he's got no intention of not giving it 100%.
Absolutely. I mean, the man was on the bus now for about 12 hours.
Yeah.
So in fact, he's arriving this afternoon in Cape Town, and have a nice rest, and tomorrow is the fight. So he's definitely not going to stand still and allow Gary Bailey to take over. But then again, Gary Bailey needs to win. So can you understand the dynamics?
Yeah. Well, this is the interesting about your sort of log format, is that these fighters are the selected fighters for VK1, and now they've built up a record. So we now know that this isn't. These are not one-off fights. We know what the record is, and they know each other. I mean, this is very interesting because I'm looking at some of these fights here. I mean, you've got Saint Dumas up against Rian Boys. Rian fought in that first fight, I think. What was it against Yasin on the first fight? I can't.
That's right. Yeah.
And it didn't go his way. He's going to be wanting to bounce back now when he up against Saint Dumas.
And I mean, Saint Dumas is now what? Is now second on the log. I think Yasin is now top on the log. So And these guys know this because they have the results, they have the luck, they understand how the lock works, and they understand what to get. I cannot lose with a knockout. I got to win with the knockout, or maybe I can lose with points, whatever the case may be. So they understand the dynamics as well. And Rian Boys, he really needs to get a win now to kind of put his mark within the under 75 kilograms.
So let's just talk about something else that's quite interesting. I mean, the kickboxing, like any other sport, is you got to be in the ring. You got to get used to the ring. You got to build up your experience in the ring. And VK1 is, of course, a unique environment. Yassine Adams, we just spoke about him. He's a big crowd favorite. Half the crowd is coming to see Yassine when he pitches up. He had his first fight. He won that fight within the first 10 seconds of the event. Didn't make it into VK1 2 because of the thumb injury. He's now back VK1 3, which essentially means he's only had 10 seconds of experience in VK1. But he's one of your favorites. He's up against Bruce Miyasi this Saturday. Both of these fighters are going to be going toe to toe, but Yassine is going to want to come out to prove a point. He's going to want to show the fans why why he is such a favorite.
No, absolutely. Look, Yassine have a rich amateur record as well, a rich amateur background. So that is it. And because he's a hard trainer, he trains hard. He's a very disciplined fighter, very structural. So and sometimes you get a fighter like Saint Dumas, who's got the flair, But then you get Yassine, who's very structural. And sometimes in a hardcore fight, being structural, it can actually count to benefit.
Yeah. So each fighter brings into the game his own sort of style.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Rodney Corneliussen, who also had a very successful VK1, he's up against Robert Miyaba. That's of course under 75.
I think Rodney. Rodney just came from a good win in the island of Reunion.
Right.
So and he's also one of the very strong contenders within the 75 kilograms. So that's going to be very interesting. He hasn't lost yet in the VK1. So he's very strong, and that's going to be a very exciting fight.
On a final note, you've got some heavyweights in there as well. Lucas Smith, who's keen to get in the picture now. He missed that one or two of those opportunities with the VK1 and 2. Yeah. Rainier Vos managed to start ticking the experience boxes, being there already for VK1 and VK2. Heavyweight boxing, heavyweight kickboxing, always a crowd puller. You got a big one on the bill here.
I think, Look, Lucas Smith has unfortunately he couldn't compete in VK2, but
not his own fault though.
Not his own fault.
His
opponent withdrew very like a day
last
before
minute,
the fight.
Yeah.
But saying that, again, very rich history from amateur perspective.
Yes.
He's hungry. He worked hard. He built up his body quite beautifully, thinking from where he came from. And he's very, very hungry to do this. On the other hand, Rainier Vos also he still needs to cement himself in the VK1 as well. And he's definitely not going to stand still for Luki. That's just one of those things. And the people have to come out. They're going to have to come and watch this fight. This is going to be an epic heavyweight fight.
Epic tournament. VK1 3 happening at the Vibrant Sport in Ottery, getting started about 5 p.m. Is that right?
5 p.m. on Saturday, 27th of August.
Tickets available at the door?
Tickets available at the door. It's available still on Cricket.
Yeah.
But yeah, people must come. The door will be opening at 4:30. So yeah.
Josh, good luck, and fantastic to see how your amateur fighters are coming through the ranks and getting these great opportunities like competing in VK1, and we're looking forward to the results and seeing how things go.
Yeah, JP, thank you. Again, just in conclusion, like I said earlier on, it's important for the program, for the professionals. Otherwise, we lose the fighters. We have seen it. You lose the fighters to other combat sports. So the Western Cape has set up the concept of VK1 to assist and to ensure the continuation of development of kickboxing within the province.
There we go, folks. Josh Cloete, President of Western Cape Kickboxing. Get down to Vibrant Sports this coming Saturday, the 27th of August, 5 p.m. Tickets on sale at the door. Don't go away. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about sport in the province. Back in a sec.